Hello, in this recording, I'm going to demo a few story building for variances analysis. First, we are going to create a column chart for the sales quantity for the different product hierarchies. And then we are going to add an average sales volume line to the chart so we can compare the actual sales quantity of each category to the overall average of all products. And then we are going to create a comparison of variances analysis between the sales revenue and the cost of goods sold. So we are going to be able to see the percentage of the cost as compared to the total sales revenue. So project both the revenue and the cost on the same charts and show the cost percentage. And for the first column charts, I'm going to add a new chart and use a vertical chart. The measure will be the sales quantity. And the dimension will be the product hierarchy. So we can drill down the sales quantity for different levels of the hierarchy. Right now is the aggregate. So this is the total sales volume, so aggregate. And now let's drill down to different levels. So let's try the level 4. So that's the most detailed. So we see all of the actual sales across the different categories. And now I'm going to add a cross-sectional average, like the average quantity of sales for all of the categories here. So you can see for each category, they are over the average or below the average. Tableau has some similar functions they call like under the analysis, you can add a reference line or adding the predictions. And the reference line in SAC, we can get it from the more options and add reference line. If you have a fixed value, for example, my expectation of the sales, you can input manually your expected value. But here we are calculating an average based upon the sales. So I'm going to use a dynamic, and the measure will be coming from the data sets and also the sales quantity. And you can reference the actual sales here to some other benchmark, right? So rather than just the sales quantity, so any other values, but it's needed to be reasonable. And aggregation, they already select average, but the other options can be the max or minimum, or depending on your benchmark. And then you can add a label. We like the reference value means the average of the sales volume and a little bit styling of the line styles and the label, the colors. So the line, and you can choose maybe, for example, I want to use a more bright. And then the label colors. Okay, I will just keep it. Chart filters, I don't have that, but that's like the basic. Then you can click OK, and you can see the line. This average is added over here. Okay. So dynamic references, you can see this. So average sales quantity every time we are closing to the line is showing the average of the sales volume. I don't know, like the color didn't change the here, but anyway, okay, like you can change the styles later. And you also can change the color of the bar by selecting, like for example, I'm choosing more like purple. Okay, yeah, so yeah, this is more bright. So the first, so adding a reference, dynamic average reference to a bar, to a column bar. And then I want to show the average number as a fixed value, maybe along with the chart. Okay, so I'm going to show the average or total sales volume. So in this case, I want to add another chart in the panel. So this chart will be just a single value. So from the indicator, we have a bullet, but I'm choosing the numeric point. So it's only a single number. And this single number will be my primary value, will be the sales quantity. And right now it's showing the total sales quantity. And we are going to change it to the average later. And you also can change the color, okay, like secondary values. And for me to change this to the from the aggregate sum to the average, I need to do a special operation they call cross calculation. And you can add the cross calculation from here. You can, if you click on the chart structure, so add a cross calculation, or you can add from the more options cross calculation. Okay, both ways can work. So I will just do over. So probably just oh, builder. If you see the builder disappear because I'm moving my mouse outside of the chart. Okay, so if you go back to the charts, the builder panel will appear again. So I'm going to start from here. So add cross calculations. And select the cross calculation and create, and that's give you the options. Oh, sorry, this is not the, it's not a calculation. Okay, so yeah, I think I believe calculated measure. No, I think yes, sorry, it still should be here. Okay, so using the, so use the more here, adding the, let me remove that first. So adding the cross calculation, we're still starting from here and create the cross calculation, but not choose the calculated. Okay, use the aggregation, and the name of this aggregation you can use. Let me see, the average should be. You can name it as you like, or I'm saying just that this is the average sales. It's just the name of this cross calculation. And it's not a sum. Right now it's already a sum. I'm looking for the average. And then leave the measurement values as default. And then the aggregation dimension, I'm choosing the product. So double check the factors on the calculation editor. Okay, so the type should be aggregation and you got these inputs. And you can name your own calculation, but choose the option to be average. And you do have other options, okay, but we are using the average. And leave the measurement values unchanged. And you can adjust the aggregation dimensions. I'm going to use the product. And you can select other dimensions as well for additional calculations. But for this one, I will click OK. And you can see the calculation value changed to average rather than the total. So I can know, because remember, if you click on the reference line in the chart, right, so we have the same number. But here we have multiple digits of the number. I want to remove that to integer. So for the styling, to remove or adjust the decimal points, I need to use the styling panel. And go to here, you can change lots of the formats or stylings. And the number format, so I'm going to use, yeah, this is still the sales quantity. And decimal places now is 7. I'm going to use a integer, so no decimal points, and it's becoming the integer. And this will be, so whenever the purpose of this is learning another chart style, and also this will be the same number as the cross reference average in the column charts. So when user have this information, okay, they always keep in mind, oh, this is the average sales quantity, and whenever you look for a particular category, you can see the differences. Okay, so that's the number point. And you also, if you think this is the font, like the size of the number is too big, we can adjust it from here, the size. They are using the default. So I think you can use this one, or it's more reasonable. And also the font, you can see the different, like the font styles. Okay, Times New Roman, like New Roman. If you can see this duplicate, right? So the title and also like a label. You can hide and show the label by using the more options. So hide and show and hide. Click on this. Okay, you can show or hide the chart titles, the primary values, and secondary. And this one, I'm going to uncheck the primary value table or value label. Oh, it means because we already have the chart title, and you can double click, you lose everything. Okay, but anyway, so I'm going to select that again. So that's the fine tuning of the charts. Okay, I'm going to start here. So you can use both of the charts, okay, as a combination to show the actual sales volume and the cross-sectional average. Okay, that's one type of variances. And then on the right side, I'm going to build another comparison of variances between the revenue and the cost. So on the right side, add another chart to bar chart. Okay, so I'm just moving this. And building here again. Oh, I already moved that. Okay, so remove. Just to work on the original. And this is going to be another column chart. I'm using the vertical again. And my measure will be two of them, the revenue USD and the cost USD. So compare the magnitude, okay, of both, like cost as a percentage of the revenues. But first we need to list the two measure as columns. Then the dimension will be sales org. Okay, sales organization we have. So another dimension. Now we have how many? 4 sales organizations. And for each of them, so let me enlarge this. For each of them, we are seeing the bar charts. Okay, the bar charts of their cost and the sales for that division. And right now, even we can see for each division, their magnitude, like the differences between revenue and the cost is different, but I want to show directly how much is the difference and also the percentage of the cost as referencing to the total sales revenue. Okay, there's another variances we can build over here. And so for this one, I want to add, so if you want to see the differences and also percentage, I'm going to add from here. So compare to, or is like compare to different columns. So like a variances comparison. So open the variances panel. And we are comparing the cost to revenue. Okay, the comparison pair should make sense. You couldn't use, like, if you reverse, then it's not useful, right? So we are comparing the percentage of cost to the revenue, but rather than revenue as a percentage of cost. And then the display options, use the invert color and percentage, and more important, define the data label. So I want to project the cost on the revenue or revenue on the cost. So you can play around. Okay, I will leave it as the cost of USD, and the result you can see the difference of the revenue and the cost show on the cost USD column and shows as a percentage. Okay, this. And if you change this to revenue, so the differences and the percentage will show in the revenue column. So it's up to your preference. Okay, both can work. But the main purpose here is we want to directly give users an idea, okay, for the percentage of the cost as compared to revenue and also their numerical differences. Okay, that's another way to show the variances. Also, I want to show you some additional enhancement functions, even if it's not in the handout. For example, I want to rank the different organizations. So you can have a ranking by the sales org, or you directly can use the top N options. So if you click on this, for example, they already have the top 5, bottom 5 defined. But since we only have 4 groups of data, or for example, I want to show top 3 or top 10, the customize the top, you can click on the top N and change the value. For example, top 2 in my situations. And they are only showing the top 2 sales organizations or inside the company. Because I don't have that many groups, it doesn't make much sense. But if you have many groups of data, you want to have this ranking or top, bottom information, so you can utilize that functions. And I'm gonna to remove it. Okay, right now, as you can see, it have top 2. I can remove. Okay, so it's going back to the original charts. So this is the part. I think I forgot one thing here is, so let me squeeze this. So go to the left side. Add a input control, I believe. Input control for like the data range. Okay, the data range for the first chart we built. And this one, so I want to show the data range for, like, you can select as users, you can select how many years you want to show the sales volume. It's kind of like a filter, but this is a more dynamic. So for this type of control, we can start from here. We're adding a input control, and we did something before, and this time we are going to use the dimension and the date. Okay, a data range and a filter by range, and you got a pop-up adjustment. I'm going to keep the dynamic okay, year, quarter, the hierarchies. And right now is only showing the current, right? So the current year is 23. So I needed to adjust this. I believe we have the data since 2007. So for 2007, I can ask the range to be, so looking back is 16. So if I add 16 as a look back, the period, it goes to the very beginning of my data. So depending on your data range, for this part, you need to be flexible. When we took the workshop is 2021, so that time the handout put 14, right? But right now it's 2 more years, so you need to use 16. And granularity, you can choose year, month, or quarter. And then in that case, you also need to adjust the period, these numeric values. Oh, yeah. Okay. And look forward, because I don't have predictive data. Okay, I'm just leave it open. And that's, I think, you need to adjust. Okay, basically, the granularity of the data range and also the period, so the numbers. And then click on OK. And you can see, you see like a filter of decor control. And if you want to change the name, so letting people know what they can do here. So you can see like select your data range. So people know that's a place they can put some filter in. And if you click on that, so you can see all of the range. And right now it's looking 16, and they can change this, for example, 10 only. And wait a little bit, the charts will all got updated depending on the data range we choose. You can see the average sales quantity reduced to 17,000 something because we are looking for a older data range. Okay, 10, so looking back 10 years from the current. And then you can adjust this, okay, larger or smaller. And if I, for example, change to 5 only, and you need to move out of the mouse from the box, so the data will be got updated. We can see this average even become lower, right? So that's a input control based upon the date. And you can also add some other control variables. Okay, this is only example. And if I want to go back to the original, I can uncheck this. Or probably they will go to the default. Yeah, I think they are, oh, okay, go back to my default. Yeah, that's like all of the data is involved. So I think now we finished this part. Okay, I'm going to hide the designer and let's take a look for the overall page, like this page of the stories for variances analysis. Then I can change the title of this page based upon the contents. So in this analysis, we focus on the variances. Okay, just a call variances. So we have two charts over here. So this is step 6 in the handouts. I kind of forgot the input control and then come back. Okay, but so when you see the handouts, after you finish these two charts, you add the input control before we add the cost and revenue comparisons.